أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
Have you ever seen a gay man stan another gay celebrity? No, you haven't. You see gay men stan Mariah Carey, Beyonce, Rihanna, Bella Hadid, Lady Gaga. They're, a huge majority of their fan base are gay men. But then you have someone like Sam Smith. Sam Smith doesn't have gay fans. He has women fans, right? I don't know any other gay. I don't know who else is gay. I guess Lil Nas X, right? Lil Nas X is another one. Neil Patrick Harris or Anderson Cooper. They're a different kind of celebrity, but let's say in terms of celebrity, those are some openly gay men. Women love them, but gay men don't support them. Gay men support Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Mariah Carey, Bella Hadid, Rihanna. Why? Because being gay isn't an actual, isn't something you're born with. It's trauma. So they still love women. They just love women in a misdirected way. Women are still on a pedestal to them because if they're really gay, why would you stan a woman? If women are supposed to gross you out and disgust you, then why would you stan them? The issue with like LGBTQ as a whole, I think this sort of push to say that people are born this way is like such a psyop, bro. There's nothing genetically or DNA-wise that there's no gay gene. I hate to break it to you. There's no gay gene. I don't know where the fuck that comes from. Clearly that's a lie. That's some kind of scientific lie. There's no such thing as a gay gene. Being gay, generally speaking, comes from trauma. That's it. Comes from trauma. That is it. I'll give you examples. Right? Actually, I'll give you two personal examples before I get into more theoretical examples. No disrespect. This is going to get me in trouble. I have an aunt in Spanish, like my titi, right? Some Spanish people say tia, but I say titi. One of my cousins is gay, and she was like, I remember her saying like, oh, I always knew he was gay because when he was younger, he played with Barbies. So it's like, oh, he was just born this way. He played with Barbies. He's always been gay. And that couldn't be further from the truth because she totally excluded the part where he got fucked in the ass as a kid. He was molested. He was touched as a kid by his stepfather or his mom's boyfriend, maybe. I don't know if it was stepfather or mom's boyfriend, whatever. And unfortunately, it's sad, but that man fucked him in the ass. That's why he's gay. He's not gay because he was born and he played with Barbies. It's fucking retarded. It's retarded to even think that. And I'm not picking on her. That's what people think. It's like, oh man, he played with Barbies as a kid, or he wore makeup, he wore dresses. He was born gay. It's like, no, there was trauma there. And that's extreme trauma. Obviously, that's like actual pedophilia and molestation, and the guy who did that is going to fucking hell, right? You're going to fucking hell for that. And let me let me disclaimer that Muslims aren't supposed to say that, so forgive me for saying that, but in this context, I kind of don't give a fuck. You're going to fucking hell. Right? Because think about the thousands of lives that one thing destroys. Because in just like a couple of generations, like one man having kids with one woman, that creates thousands of lives, right? And now that's thousands of people who can create like a change in the world, right? Or who can just procreate and be like successful members of society. So that one fucking guy raping my cousin, that's killed thousands of kids, thousands of generations, right? Or thousands of people in consecutive generations. So fuck you, you're going to hell. But that's what made him gay, because he's a little boy, right? He's having this sexual experience that you're not supposed to have. You're not mentally there. Your frontal lobe isn't there, right? Spiritually, sexually, like you don't know any of that shit. Like you're a little boy. So that creates like super trauma, and of course that can lead to being gay, that can lead to drug abuse, that can lead to like sexual perversion where, maybe not only are they gay, but they do the same shit to other little boys, right? That leads to so much. So that's trauma, right? Now let's say about me, my trauma, and no bitch, I'm not gay, right? Let's put that out there right away. I mean, my trauma I experienced to where that it could have easily led somewhere else. So as a kid, 8 Mile came out, the Eminem movie about his life. And it was on. And that's a rated R movie, but like a real rated R. and it was on, and there's a scene towards the like latter half where Eminem's girlfriend, who's played by Brittany Murphy, who's passed away unfortunately, she's in the studio with another guy, and they're having sex in the in the studio, like where you make music. They're having sex there, but that's Eminem's girlfriend. So as a kid, that really fucked me up because I didn't know, like if a man is with a woman, I didn't know as a kid that the woman could cheat. You know, and a man could cheat too, of course, but in this case, the first time cheating was a thing, I experienced it from a woman doing it. And that fucking destroyed my heart because I was like, wait, like I have a mom and a dad. It never occurred to me that a woman, because I don't want to say my mom, but let's say in this context, it never occurred to me that my mom could have sex with another man who's not my dad, right? Because thank God I was born, and you know, every family has their issues, but I was born in a beautiful foundation of a, you know, of a family. So yeah, thank God I had a functioning, you know, family, a functioning mom and dad who generally were healthy, have had a healthy relationship in my upbringing. So seeing Eminem's girl do that, just destroyed my heart because I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know women could cheat. I didn't know there was any cheating, right? That's traumatic. So easily imagine, and I was super young, so imagine a world where that trauma could have led me to not trusting women. My only experience of women are like my mom, my cousins, my aunts, so there's no sort of like romantic aspect to those relationships. So if that's my only experience as a kid, and like sexually, of course, as a kid, like we don't understand any of that stuff. We're young, we're prepubescent, right? We don't have any of that in our system. To see a woman do that in that context, like of course, that's gonna really fuck with my mind because prior to this, I've never seen a woman do anything like that. So there's a reality where that affected me so much. I could have easily been afraid of women and afraid of women and being hurt, you know? And again, a lot of it is subconscious. Of course, I'm a little kid. My frontal lobe isn't there. So I'm afraid of being hurt. I'm afraid of the trauma that was enacted on me. So easily, since I've never had a context outside of like loving women around me, no sort of sexual sort of relationship. Obviously, I'm a kid. I'm prepubescent. So seeing that, like that easily could have made me so afraid of women, and then also comparing that to the women that are in my life now, it easily could have made me like comparing that situation of Eminem's, you know, girlfriend cheating, and then comparing that to the context I was living in, which is, you know, only knowing like beautiful and non-romantic women. That could have made me super afraid and having a subconscious fear of women and making me realize, oh, men are where it's safe to be, and then women I can only be, you know, platonic with in a friendly way, the way I am with my mom, my aunts, and my cousins. That easily could have been a rewiring during a time where my mind isn't even wired properly to understand, you know, women are to procreate with, men are to be friends with. Like as a kid, it's subconscious, but it's not. There's no active verbiage that says that in your head. You're a kid, of course. You're not thinking about any of that. You're thinking of playing with toys and watching Captain America and playing video games and shit. So thank God that wasn't the case, but that easily could have made me gay. That's trauma, right? And now let's look at a more a theoretical situation, right? It's not as aggressive. It doesn't have to be an aggressive, you know, unfortunate rape or molestation or, you know, any kind of you know, sexual perversion where there's touching or something with kids. It could be as simple as, much like me saying 8 Mile, like let's say, who knows, a father has like a Victoria's Secret runway going, you know, is on the TV, and the women are, you know, just like, you know, dressed in, you know, in sexual clothes, right? Like there's no actual nudity, but it's pretty close. And a little boy, he's only ever been around his mother, his sister, his aunts, his cousins, right? Like fully clothed, non-romantically. It's a little boy. Obviously, he's just around loving family. And he sees women in this way, and he's the little boy, his frontal lobe is not developed. He doesn't know what he's watching. That could easily cause trauma, right? This is, again, excuse the language, but imagine, a little boy, 7, 8 years old, he's seeing women for the first time in this way, and, let's say he gets a boner, right? And as a kid, you don't know what like a little boy has no idea what that is, right? They don't have control over their system in that way. There's nothing sexual about little boys and their thoughts, and, prepubescent thoughts aren't like that. So they see these like half-naked women. They've only ever seen their mom, their aunts, their cousins, their sister. They're going to be so confused because they have this going on and their hormones aren't fully there yet. They're not fully developed and not fully conceptualized, mentally. They're going to be afraid because they're going to be like, wait, I'm seeing these women, I'm having these sensations, and the only time I see women other than this context is mom, sister, aunt, cousin. So they're going to be like, oh my God, this is something wrong. Like, I can't feel this way towards women because these are the only women I know. So I can't feel this way about my mom, right? My mom, I love my mom. I don't feel this way about my mom. I have to totally disregard that feeling, and there's something wrong with that feeling. And then they put women on a pedestal, and then as they grow up with that trauma, they end up fucking guys. Because women are on a pedestal, they're afraid of that feeling, right? And obviously that gets buried more and more and more as they get older. And now that they don't know what that feeling is, right? They don't know where that feeling stems from. They just have a disgust towards women because women are their mom, their aunt, their sister, their cousins. So women are put on a pedestal, and now any kind of sexual desire they have, it gets misplaced, and it gets directed. It gets directed towards men. So now they do sexual shit with men, and then they put women on a pedestal.